Natty make we chant down Vatican now. Bang the ling bling chant down Babylon kingdom. Natty make we chant down Vatican now. Chant down Babylon kingdom. Natty make we chant down Vatican now. Bang the ling bling chant down Babylon kingdom. Natty make we chant down Vatican now.
What up, y'all? Babylon 5 podcast. It's your boy, Jermaine Event. How are you guys doing? Thanks for being here another week. This is episode 179. As you know, if you're listening to this, you know everything that I'm saying at this moment. It's episode 179. It's episode 179. We're calling this bad boy Bananas. Or Take Flight. I don't know. Those are two different running titles I had. I'm probably going to just stay with Bananas. I think we're going to stick with Bananas. We're going to talk about UFC 283 that just went down, ladies and gentlemen. We had two title fights. And it was a really good card in general. Really good card in general. We got a new mythical MMA duo. Some new mythical MMA bros. We're going to talk about UFC 283. I'm going to talk about UFC 285 as well. And of course we have no fights or no UFC fights next week. We unfortunately have the weekend off. Haven't we suffered enough? You guys were off for a month, for weeks. Haven't we suffered enough, he says, but I guess not. And when we come back, we will have the Lewis Spivak rescheduled headliner fight. So I won't talk about that this week. We'll talk about that next week. But it's pretty much exactly what I said right before they were going to fight the first time. That fight got canceled during the fight card. So it's pretty much the same. I don't have too much. I don't have too much different feelings. They haven't fought anybody else since that fight. It's the exact same as it was then, same as it is now, which is, if you guys would like to follow this podcast on Instagram and Twitter, it's at Babylon5Pod. If you guys would like to email this podcast for whatever reason, go ahead and email this podcast at Babylon5podcast@gmail.com. Damn, I don't think I have that synced up on my phone. Like my iPhone. It's definitely synced up on my Android, but there's a lot of things that I just let go of when I switched to this iPhone. And now I'm thinking, I didn't necessarily let go, but I didn't sign in. It's pretty annoying. Anywho. It was annoying that, I don't know, just getting all them goddamn notifications from 1,000 Gmails. I got a few Gmails, ladies and gentlemen. When I went to MATC, the community college over here, they give you a fucking Gmail. I still have that Gmail. I got my professional Gmail. I got my music Gmail. I got this fucking Babylon 5 podcast Gmail. And I got a few other Gmails. For whatever fucking reason, for other shit I be doing, and I think I was overwhelmed, or maybe I just forgot. But I gotta sync that up because I feel like I haven't been getting any notifications, or maybe nobody's been emailing me. No, I was getting emails. Niggas be trying to send me beats and shit through that. I mean, I guess that's the fucking. I'm most active on the Babylon 5 podcast Instagram, so it makes sense that. And Twitter, Instagram and Twitter. So it makes sense that would be the way that they see to contact me is through the podcast Gmail. I guess. I don't know. Anywho, that's neither here nor there. If you guys would like to hit that like button anywhere that you're listening to this podcast, I'd appreciate that so very much. If you guys are on Twitch and you'd like to follow this podcast, head on over to twitch.tv/Babylon5. If you guys would like to cop some merchandise, head on over to teespring.com/store/BOFpod-shop. I was actually about to purchase one of my hoodies. I'm actually gonna do that in probably right after I'm done with this podcast. I'm gonna buy one of my hoodies. You guys should get it yourself. I was like, why am I not wearing one of my hoodies in these videos around town to UFC 285? But we're gonna talk about that later. If I didn't say, head on over to teespring.com/store/BOFpod-shop. And if you guys would like to be more than just my Niji, if you'd like to be more than just my Niji, head on over to patreon.com/Babylon5pod and you can be my Niji. Or be my patron. You can be more than my Niji. You all can be my Niji. Just by being good people. Good people to have. UFC 283, ladies and gentlemen. Just say UFC 283 last night. Glover Teixeira versus Jamahal Hill. Co-main event, Brandon Moreno versus Davison Figueiredo. Alright, this was a really good card. I enjoyed pretty much every fight here. If you're not watching every fight, it's silly. I saw someone tweeting and I was like, yeah, it's fucking nuts every time I go to live shows that it's like this. Like, the prelims of this show were pretty much empty. So there's like 10 fights that people they bought tickets to the show and chose to skip the majority of the fights and just show up for the main card. It's crazy to me that this arena was so empty that people would skip these fights. Daniel Marcos looked like a monster. All right. He looked like a monster, and that's Salman Oliveira. Not only did Marcos look amazing, but Oliveira looked real sloppy in there. So it was like the perfect blend for Marcos to look like an absolute beast. All right, he's 14-0, undefeated. Marcos is a monster. All right. You had Josiane Nunes defeating Zara Farin dos Santos. That is, it says she's going to be 40 years old in July, I believe. That fight was weird, man, because honestly, I could see maybe the second round I'd give to Josiane Nunes, but in the first round, that height difference, the reach difference, like Nunes, I believe, is 5'2". Farin dos Santos was 5'8", maybe 5'8", 5'10". It was a huge let me click that real quick. It was a huge disadvantage. Like, it was ridiculous. Yeah, she's 5'8", and Josiane Nunes is 5'2". Nunes has a 67-inch reach, and Farin has a 73-inch reach. She was touching that girl up all over her in the first round. And Nunes was starting to come back and land a little bit at the end of the first, but I felt like you had to give that first round to her. I felt like Farin looked tired in the second round, and Nunes was coming on strong, but then in the third round, it was like Farin found her second wind. I feel like she should have won that fight, but it is what it is. That was a good fight. Like, right away, I was like, this fight is nuts. Nicholas Dalby defeats Warley Alves. Dude, Dalby is fucking game. That dude's a workhorse, all right? That dude is fucking 9 to 5, all right? All work. His breathing techniques are pretty fucking cool. How long is Warley Alves gonna fucking live off that Colby Covington win? Why do I have to keep hearing that this nigga beat Colby fucking years ago? Colby was nothing like what he is right now, and maybe he could even beat Colby right now, but my nigga, That was years ago. How long is this man gonna live off that Kobe Covington win? Stop mentioning that, all right? Stop mentioning it, because it's just silly. All right, look where Kobe is, fighting for the belt twice, interim champ, former interim champ. And look where Worley is, getting touched up by Dalby. Dalby looked like a problem in there. His striking was great. He was great everywhere, honestly. Dalby looked fucking great in there. And that was a great fight. Ismail Bonfim, all right, knocks Terrence McKinney out cold. It was hard to watch Terrence McKinney get fucked up like that, but it seemed like, so McKinney has all the confidence in the world. You guys see this in McKinney, and he's posting shit in the lead up, like on Instagram, like prayers for Ismail Bonfim, because they're like, he's not sick, but he's facing Terrence McKinney. Like, the confidence was through the roof. You know, even as Terrence McKinney walks up, they're showing his stats, and one of the stats is 7-second knockout of Matt Frivola. So he's confident in his striking. He was on track to be an Olympic wrestler, and then he OD'd, like, I forget on what, and then lost his college scholarship or whatever, and then he ended up fighting. Now he's a fighter, all right? This is what happens with wrestlers. They get confident in their striking. They knock somebody out maybe once, and then they fall in love with that moment. But what I'm saying is, I feel like in the very first exchange, Terrence McKinney and Ismail Bonfim, the expression on McKinney changed, and he knew he could not strike with this man. It felt different immediately, and McKinney did not look confident that he could strike with Bonfim. Bonfim looked swole, big as fuck in there. Like, he was the shorter guy, but fucking stocky as shit. Huge. He was coming in there swinging to knock this man out, and he knocked McKinney out cold, unfortunately. Knocked that man out cold. That dude is a problem. In the corner, after the first round, McKinney's team is telling him, like, yo, he's got nothing for you in the stand-up. Just keep coming at him with these straight punches. And it's like, he goes in there, tries to strike with this nigga, and gets knocked the fuck out cold. I don't understand why they were telling him to strike with this man. He clearly did not want to strike with this man. Use your wrestling. You was about to go to the Olympics. Alright? Why do they go away from the shit that gets them here? That's your bread and butter, wrestling. I need McKinney to utilize that wrestling. Tire these niggas out for the first round with your wrestling, and then fucking touch them up on the feet once they're tired. Then look like a beast, but don't just start it off. Everybody's 100% ready to go, and you're gonna try to stand with that man. You're not a striker. Like, shit happens. I don't think if he fights Frivola next, in the very next fight, I fucking doubt he finishes Frivola in 7 seconds. I doubt that happens again. I think it'd actually be a pretty tough fight for him if he fought Frivola again. I think it'd be a pretty tough fight. But shout out to Ismail Bonfim, one half of the new mythical brothers MMA duo. Here we are. If I can get out what I'm trying to say, his brother also fight on this card, few fights down, Gabriel Bonfim, who gets a first round submission of a mounted guillotine of Munir Laziz. I thought he was the older brother. Turns out he's the younger brother, but he's a lot bigger. He fights at 170. Yeah, how tall is this guy? 6'1". 6'1", 170. This man is 25. Damn, he's 25. I thought he was the older brother. His brother is 5'8", 27. That nigga's 27. He looked like he damn near 40. Looked like he damn near 40. Everybody's on steroids. They're all on fucking steroids. Jesus Christ. Shout out to Cody Stamen with his decision victory. Jailton Almeida, all right, light heavyweight, who's just like, for now, I'll just not cut weight and fight heavyweights, and he's ragdolling them. He's in there ragdolling. His grappling is just, it's too much for everybody. He was a negative 1100 favorite, all right, coming into this fight, and he showed you why. He came into this fight at 232. His opponent came in at 263. All right, his opponent had 30 pounds on him, and he fucking just picking him up, tossing him around, ragdolling this guy. This guy's a fucking beast. How old is this motherfucker? 31? That dude's gigantic. Everybody's on fucking steroids. Maybe Shamil don't look like he's on steroids. He's just like a big ass dude who's not in fucking bodybuilder ass shape. Why are these niggas so fucking cut? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like 240 pounds, fucking 8-pack. How? Nigga, you're taking some illegal shit to suck out all that water. All that shit is illegal. All that shit is illegal in combat sports. That's the shit niggas get pops for. That's the shit niggas get pops for and get suspended for a year or so. I'm just saying, if you look at niggas like Mauricio Hua, who retired after last night, that looks like a normal guy. All right, he looks like a normal guy. Like, yeah, he's got big arms, but then the rest of him looks like a normal guy he looks like a guy who fights naturally. But these fucking Jailton Almeida, Surreal Gone, Francis Ngannou ass niggas, who the fuck nobody else looks like that other than these people. It's weird. Mauricio, who retired, I'm jumping around here now. He lost to this guy, Ihor. I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name. But this Ihor guy does this fucking weird ass fucking dance. He taunts Hua after the victory. And it was like, all right, man, you just beat a 40-year-old who this was before the fight even happened. We knew this was his retirement fight, and you beat him by TKO, and then you start taunting him in Rio. You start taunting this legendary Brazilian in Rio after you TKO him. He's 40 years old, man. I'm rooting for this nigga to get his ass beat immediately. That's what I would like to see for this Ihor guy out of the Ukraine. I want to see him get his ass beat. Jumping back. Shout out to Thiago Moises. Gets the submission over this Costa guy. That was a good fight in the first round, but Moises, being the fucking veteran, Costa in his debut, he was able to defend in the first round, but then second round, Moises was all over him, finished him. This guy, Bruno Ferreira, all right, made his debut, knocks out Gregory Rodriguez. RoboCop got knocked out cold in the very first round with just a clean left hook. Like, it was weird. Bruno threw two hooks, right? Threw I think he threw a left hook, a right hook from far the fuck away. It was like, why the fuck is he throwing these weird punches? And then he steps in swiftly, throws that left hook, and knocks this nigga out cold. It was terrible technique at first, and then just immediately the button. Hit that nigga on the button, knock that nigga out in the first round. It was sad to see it happen to RoboCop. But this is the fight business, ladies and gentlemen. It was sad to see it happen to RoboCop, unfortunately. So we had, just jumping over to Hua fight, as I just mentioned that, Johnny Walker crushes Paul Craig in the very first round. Damn. I don't know, man. I don't know what's up with, like, I like Paul Craig as a fighter, a personality, the Bear Jewel, you know what I'm saying? I like Paul Craig, but the striking just isn't there. And if he can get you into the ground, get you to the ground and like lull you into something, like get you to relax in the like, maybe try to tire you out. He's just gonna try to hold you down, and then the second you relax, boom, he tries to hook on a triangle or something. That's his fucking strategy. It's silly. You know how everybody, like, when Ryan Hall was on that win streak, it was like, he's so amazing, Imanari roll after Imanari roll, until he fucking hooks that leg and fucking damn near pops your knee out of them, just rips that whole shit apart, rips your knee apart, alright, rips all those ligaments. You guys remember when Ryan Hall was on that fucking run? Do you know what happened? He met excellent striking by way of Ilia Taporia and all that. If it goes to the ground, shit don't matter. If it don't go to the ground, fucking, I think Walker threw a leg kick. Craig caught the leg, and then on one leg, Johnny Walker just starts throwing some crosses, threw a right cross, just cross, and then that dropped Craig. Craig continued to hold on to the leg and still try to cover up, and Walker's just fucking hammer fist, until the ref finally stepped in and saved Craig. I don't know how much longer I don't know how much more successful he can be with that striking deficiency there. He can't stand up with most of the top guys. He can't stand up with most of the guys in general. So it's unfortunate. I like Paul Craig, but geez, he got destroyed. Speaking of destroyed, Jessica Andrade fucking worked Lauren Murphy. I don't understand why her corner didn't throw in the towel. They should have stopped that fight after the second round. The ref could have stopped the fight at some point. Even after the fight, Andrade was like, I thought the ref was gonna stop it, but I don't know what he was looking for, I guess. She's beating the fuck out of Lauren Murphy. Lauren Murphy looked like a different person at the end of that fight. She's getting touched the fuck up. She's turning away. Like, she's getting fucking beat the fuck up in there. Jessica Andrade was having her way with Lauren Murphy, and it's exactly as I thought it was gonna go. Exactly as everybody thought it was gonna go, but shit. I wish the corner had fucking saved her. I wish their corner would fucking save her. Cause she got fucking destroyed and she didn't even need that third round. Nothing was gonna change. And it didn't. Nothing was gonna change. And it didn't. So, Andrade, man, they're talking about her fighting in multiple weight classes. Like, she's pretty much like ranked or right there in multiple weight classes. So I'm not sure what's next for her. I mean, she fought Valentina and Valentina walked through her. She did beat Rose Namajunas, but she got walked through by Zhang Wei Li the first time they fought. So I'm not sure what's next for Andrade, but I like Andrade. I think she's getting better. She's definitely getting better. I like Andrade a lot. Alright? Big fan of Andrade. Gilbert Burns, as expected, walks through Neil Magny. I said last week my prediction is Gilbert Burns by domination, and that's exactly what we got. First round submission arm triangle. Shout out to Gilbert Burns. So I'm calling this bad boy bananas in reference to when Brandon Moreno and Davison Figueiredo had their final face-off at the ceremonial weigh-ins. Davison Figueiredo, he was doing all these things, trying to just get into Moreno's head, it felt like to me. He pushed him a little bit, shoved him a little bit, just kept jumping at him, doing all these poses. And then he walks up to him, takes his shades off, stares him in the eyes, and then Moreno pulls out a fucking banana. And that's when Moreno just starts, he finally broke and was shaking his head no. Because as you guys know, or you should know, there's that whole, when they're talking about this is the biggest rivalry of this weight class, and Moreno's well, I think because of the bad blood, this is the biggest rivalry. The bad blood is Figueiredo saying Moreno's team was being racist and saying he looks like a fucking chimpanzee, putting his face on a monkey's body, apparently. Sharing these, posting these pictures of him with his face on a monkey's body. So when Figueiredo pulled out that fucking banana at the face-offs, I'm like, holy fuck, this needs to be the main event now. I need this to be the last fight. Yeah, there's bad blood, like a motherfucker, okay? There's definitely bad blood here. So I had to call this episode Bananas. And wouldn't it be bananas if Figueiredo went out there and won that fight? It would be, because he did not he did not win that fight. I think all three judges gave him round 2, which I personally felt like Moreno won all 3 rounds. There's only 3 rounds for this fight. Figueiredo got hit by a hook, and he felt like he got poked in the eye, but what really happened was when Moreno threw the hook, he threw it weird, where his fucking thumb, he hit him in the eye with his thumb, and I'm surprised he didn't break his thumb or some shit. The way that punch landed, it was real weird the way that shit landed. But the way it landed, Figueiredo felt like it was an eye poke, and he started to complain about the eye poke. But then the ref was like, "Nah, it was a punch," and they had to keep going. And Moreno was still all over him, took him to the ground, beating him up on the ground. And the whole time that they're doing these exchanges in the grappling, I'm like, dude, Figueiredo has not opened that eye one time. That eye is swelled shut. I see it. And then at the end of the round, the ref comes in. They bring in the doctor, and he's doing the whole number things, how many fingers am I holding up? And it's just yep, he can't see. They call the fight. And new undisputed UFC champion, UFC flyweight champion, Brandon Moreno, the pride of Tijuana. Brandon Moreno. So it's likely that he fights Alexandre Pantoja next. I just watched a video of Pantoja. He ran up on Moreno in the backstage. He was like, "Yo, I'm happy for you right now, but when are we fighting? 2 months, 3 months? When is it happening?" And somebody had to step between them, hey, we have to Pantoja stepped to this man immediately after this fight. When are we fighting next? So I'm pretty sure he's fighting Pantoja next. That's hype. I'm excited for it. Congratulations to Brandon Moreno. Figueiredo had already said before this fight that after this fight, he's moving up to 135 pounds. So this is probably the last time these two are going to fight. With Moreno having 2 finishes out of the 4 times that they fought 4 times, and 2 out of those times Moreno has a finish over Figueiredo. I think this rivalry is over here. But I'm curious what Figueiredo does, because he trains with Henry Cejudo, who is coming back as we speak to fight at 135 pounds. So his head coach is in the weight class that he's now moving to. I'm curious how that will go. But that was a great fight. Pretty one-sided in my opinion. Moreno, I mean, they're kind of even, but at this point, Brandon, I believe, he's younger. I believe Figueiredo's like 36 right now. Let's see. Figgy is 35. And Moreno's 29. And I feel like Moreno has improved. He's probably just getting into his prime. And, yeah. And Figueiredo is who he is at this point. I'm not saying he's not getting better, but I think Figueiredo is able to... He's got a higher fight IQ, I feel like. He's just getting better, man. His defense was better. He had that high, tight guard. And this one, instead of that loose, wide open guard, he had the high, tight guard. He was able to make these adjustments. So that was a good fight, man. In the main event, I picked last week Jamal Hill to defeat Glover Teixeira via knockout. That did not happen. But what did happen was Jamal Hill beating the shit out of Glover Teixeira for 5 rounds. Like, he's just dominating Glover Teixeira for a lot of that fight. It's funny here. It's like 63% of people on Tapology went with Teixeira. I don't see how. He often gets touched up. He gets hit pretty often. He just retired. Like, when you look at a lot of the highlights of Glover, they're comebacks. He's usually getting beat the fuck up, and then somehow he fucking does a move, gets them to the ground or some shit, and now you're in his world. But it usually starts out with him taking fucking damage. That's usually how it starts. And then he comes back. So I didn't think he was going to be able to stand up to the power of Hill. Hill wasn't able to finish him, but it seemed like it could have happened a few times. I felt like the ref could have stepped in and stopped that fight a few times, but he did not. So it is what it is. But we have a new champion, Jamal Hill. I'm not sure who he fights next. Probably Magomed Ankalaev. Yuri Prochazka's saying he's coming. And then I'm watching videos of Yuri Prochazka's striking defense. And I'm like, ooh. Because, before this, I'm like, dude, Hill can't hang with Yuri. But with how good Hill looked in that fucking performance against Glover, and then when I look at the fucking defense of Yuri Prochazka, I feel like Jamal Hill just might knock that nigga out. Alright? We might be on the start of something here. Jamal Hill looked amazing. This kind of shit right here is why I love this sport. Jamal Hill, he just in 25 minutes last night, he changed the whole lineage of his entire family. All right, just with that victory, he changed his life, and that is moments like that is why we love this sport. It happened with Glover when Glover became the champion at like 41. You know what I'm saying? That was a very heartfelt moment there. I loved that moment. These are the moments this is why we watch this sport. It was a great card last night, man. Shame on you, Brazil. They were throwing shit at Brandon Moreno after he beat Figueiredo fair and square. They were throwing shit at him as he's walking out of the arena. So much so that after Hill beat Teixeira went on the microphone and said, hey, I'm gonna leave with him All right, he's a good person. Do not throw things at him. Glover had to like fucking come on the mic, yo, don't be crazy. Do not like throw shit at the fighters. Are you crazy? Shame on you, Brazil, for throwing shit at Moreno, man. He won that fight fair and square. Fair and fucking square. You know what I was thinking? Is this whole MMA shit, is this some elitist ass shit? And I say elitist, I think when I say it, I reference to when Bill Burr came to town. All right, and when I bought my ticket, it popped up at the time, it was like a year or two ago. When you buy the ticket, it pops up and it says, because of COVID, we're going through these regulations or whatever, you're going to have to wear a mask and present a card that says that you were vaccinated, that you had 2 shots, and they were like, if you don't have the proof, then you have to take a test right there. Right? This is what it says before they let you buy the ticket. Okay? That pops up. So when we're in line to get in, these 2 girls were like walking from the front, and they were like, they just like made an announcement. They're like, hey everyone, I want you, like, they're gonna make you, they're like, you have to be vaccinated to come in there. And if you don't have a vax card, they're gonna make you take a test. And they're like, and you have to wait 45 minutes for the results. Like, this is like, they were going off and like just this announcement, right? And no one like responded. Everybody just like looked at him like, okay. Because from my perspective, I knew that information when I bought these tickets. Everything you're yelling at me. But they're leaving. They're trying to get everybody. They're trying to rally a crowd to leave because they're making people prove that they were vaccinated or take a test to prove that they don't have COVID to come into the show. It said so when you bought the ticket. And as they walked off, this one white guy in front of me in line was like, he was like, oh, I guess they just wanted to let everybody know that they're elitist. And I was like, this nigga over here. So when I say, is this MMA shit some elitist ass shit, I say that because John Bones Jones is fighting Ciryl Gane at UFC 285. Your boy has to be there, okay? I gotta be there. I'm going. I'm fucking going. And just to back up here. So, there's this whole argument online. Somebody was talking about, they were talking about, what was it? The pay-per-view prices. And how every year UFC raises the price of the pay-per-view. It's like, oh, $70. Now it's $75. Now it's $80. It's definitely going to be like at least $85 to $90 this time next year. Mark my words. Yeah, it's getting up there. But somebody was, I'm pretty sure the way I read it as sarcastic. They were like, I wish it was even more expensive. Let's separate the rich from the poors. Or like the rich from the poors. And Ben Combat History, he commented and said, I feel like the live show prices are doing a pretty good job of separating the rich from the poor. And I was like, holy fuck, nigga, I go to shows. You know what I'm saying? I'm feeling guilty like, fuck, I go to shows, my nigga. I go to shows. Does that make me bougie? Because I like a good fucking seat? This is my thing, right? When I went to go see... Let's go back to my first UFC event, which was here in Milwaukee. Kevin Lee fought Al Iaquinta. I bought 2 floor seats, and I think it was under $700 for both of those tickets together. Like, you know what I'm saying? I think it was like $6 and some change for both of those seats on the floor. When I went to Vegas to go see Colby Covington versus Kamaru Usman the first time, I like to get cage level seats, but like right there on the side, so I got like just perfect view. If it goes to the ground, I can see it. If they go over there, I can see it, you know, yada yada yada. Like, the floor seats to me are terrible points of view. All right, it sounds cool, but when you're in there like this the whole time, like fucking just moving around, just trying to see what the fuck is going on, you're like, why the fuck didn't I sit over there? I remember sitting there, and there was like Leah Letson and all these other people. They're cheering on I think Jared Gordon was fighting on that card. They're cheering on Jared Gordon and cheering on some nigga, some local Milwaukee guy, and I was cheering for the Brazilian. I gotta go back and see who was fighting, but I remember from their point of view, I was like, fuck, why am I not sitting over there? They can see everything from right there. So I always try to line up my seats with that view. My point being is that seat was like $700 for just that one seat there, right? And when I went to go see Masvidal and Covington fight last year, that same seat that I would have sat in, well, it was already purchased, but to even sit anywhere over there was like $1,200. All right, it was like $1,200, and so I'm going to UFC 285. You see his card here. Got the return of John Bones Jones facing my boy Ciryl Gane for the heavyweight championship. Bone got mean versus John Jones. I'm hype. But also in the works, they're talking about having Amanda Nunes versus Irene Aldana. Also, they're doing Valentina Shevchenko, the female GOAT, versus Alexa Grasso. 3 title fights. Also on this, there's fucking Derek Brunson versus Duplessis. Jeff Neal versus Shavkat Rakhmonov, my nigga. What was I looking at before? And I was like, no way. I could have sworn I pulled up the card. Alright, I'll just pull it up right now then, ladies and gentlemen. Let's do it on the fly. So the fights that they have here, some other fights they have listed up here for this card. You got Amanda Ribas versus Viviana Rujao. That's fucking hype. Bo Nickel, alright, versus Jamie Pickett is slated to be on this card. Jessica Penne versus Tabitha Ricci. Okay, this is a hype card. You got this undefeated guy, Esteban Ribovic, 11-0, starting off the card versus this Kamulia Kirk. I'm not sure, but I'm hyped for it. Alright, I'm fucking hyped for it. And I'm saying, what I'm saying to you is, the ticket that I bought for this event, this is the most expensive ticket I've spent for an event. This one ticket here is more than when I bought, took my wife to see the fucking Backstreet Boys. As you would know if you listen to the very first episode of this podcast. I took her to see the fucking Backstreet Boys in Denver. And you know, I like to do my cage level. So I fucking looked at the seating chart, and I got seats that would be perfectly level with the stage and not too far away, like just right off to the side, like slightly in the front, and then just like perfect level with the stage. We were like right there. We could see everything. Perfect seats. All right. I think that was like maybe $700 all together for that. My point is, this shit is more than rent, my nigga. Like, this shit is more than rent. If I was like, I'm gonna take my rent, I'm gonna take full rent, not even, and then put it toward these tickets, I'd still need a few more hundred. I'll put it like that. At least. I'm like lowballing. I need damn near like another half month's rent. I'm not even, damn, that's fucking crazy, dude. It's it's basically a month and a half's rent. You know how niggas be like, man, that's a whole rent check. Niggas like to compare big purchases to rent for whatever reason. And that's why I feel like, fuck, this is an elitist ass sport. I was talking on Twitter about how even if I buy this fucking ticket to UFC 285, which I already fucking have, they don't give me a fucking code like, all right, my nigga, you spent all this money to come see this shit. Here's a code so that you can watch the pay-per-view like in your fucking free time. Maybe when you get home, you want to rewatch that fight. Here's a code. Nope. Give me another $80 fucking dollars. All right. I have to fucking still buy the pay-per-view if I want to rewatch them fights. Or just go to the websites that I go to rewatch fights. But I'm hype. I'm a big fan of this elitist ass sport. Why is it so goddamn expensive? Can I at least get free tickets to the Power Slap League? I know ain't nobody buying no fucking tickets to the Power Slap League. If you niggas is buying tickets to the Power Slap League, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. If you're talking about the Power Slap League in any other way other than to shame everybody involved, you have a big fucking problem with yourself, alright? You need to get it together. Yeah, as I said, there's no fights next week. So I'm going to go ahead and get up out of here. Next week, we're going to touch on Louis Spivak. And I'm going to babble about whatever the fuck else I feel like. Maybe we'll talk about Dana White slapping the shit out of his wife. Because it seems like this is the whole story with the UFC. Scandals can happen, and they just keep quiet because Jamal Hill's going to win. This is going to happen. Like, the fights just keep happening. The train keeps rolling, and before you know it, that happened so long ago. What are you talking about? We've had 80 new stories pop up since then. We're talking about 80 new things over here already. Are you talking about Dana White slapping the shit out of his wife right before the Power Slap League comes out? I can't believe you niggas is actually... I've seen niggas post videos from this shit. Are you crazy? Are you fucking crazy? But if you guys would like to follow this podcast, if you're not crazy, maybe you are. If you'd like to follow this podcast on Instagram and Twitter, it's at Babylon5Pod. You guys can email this podcast at Babylon5Podcast@gmail.com. If you guys would like to hit that like button, my nigga, anywhere that you're listening, I'd appreciate it so much. And if you guys like to cop some merchandise, as I said, I'm about to cop one of them hoodies myself. I didn't make this, but this is a nice little awesome possum. It's my awesome possum hoodie. Yeah, just fire ass hoodies. Head on over to teespring.com/stores/BOFpod-shop. Go ahead and cop some of that merch. If you guys would like to be more than just my niche, head on over to patreon.com/Babylon5Pod. My niggas, this has been episode 178. Bananas. Holy shit. I hope I can steal the audio from this video, because I just found out no audio has been recording this whole fucking time. So, but I have been recording videos. So, yeah. Thank you guys for being here another week. Hope you guys are taking care of yourselves. And I'll see you when I see you. I'll holla.
Chant down Babylon kingdom. Natty make we chant down Vatican now. Bang the ling, chant down Babylon kingdom. Natty make we chant down Vatican now. Chant down Babylon kingdom. Natty make we chant